Hi everyone! So as I've said on numerous occasions, I love to travel on my own.
Lonely, I'm Mr. Lonely. I have nobody for my own.
But I get a lot of questions from other female travelers who are afraid to travel by themselves because they feel that being a solo female traveler somehow inherently puts them in danger. Well, I'm here to dispel that myth. I think that us solo females should go out there and conquer the world and not wait to be accompanied by a friend or a partner or a relative. That being said, I totally understand the reluctance and the fear that can come with the prospect of traveling by yourself. So I have a few guidelines that will hopefully help ease your mind and will hopefully prompt you to get out there and go see the world by yourself, even if you're a girl.
Here we go.
So number one, make sure that you are prepared. A lot of the fear and insecurity that comes from traveling on your own is not having an idea of like what you're doing and where you're going. If you are not an experienced solo traveler, I would recommend that you plan out at least the first 48 to 72 hours of your trip.
You should plan your accommodations.
You should plan your transportation. If you're landing in an airport, you should know exactly how you're going to get from the airport to your accommodation. So you should know which areas of the city are best to stay in. You should know which modes of transportation are the safest. Plan your arrival times. I know for myself, wherever possible, I try to make sure never to land in a foreign place that I don't know very well in the dead of night. I always try to land before nightfall. These are all aspects to plan before your trip so that you can be prepared for all eventualities. Honestly, Google is your friend. My second tip is to remain as inconspicuous as possible when you travel. I try to stay under the radar because undue attention, especially from lecherous men, can be fairly unnerving if you are a woman who is traveling on her own. When I'm traveling in certain countries, I'll make sure to cover my shoulders and my arms and my head if necessary. And I do this essentially not only to be respectful of the culture, but also to avoid any extra attention or to deflect potential harassment. The name of the game in this case is trying to keep as low a profile as possible. Because you know what? If you really want to go local, the best thing to do is to blend in. My third tip is to be vigilant, especially when you party. So yes, I understand you're traveling, you want to let your hair down.
Now lean back.
But guess what? Successful solo travel as a woman often hinges on common sense. Keep your wits about you and don't make yourself a target. Leave the expensive jewelry at home. Don't flash your cash in the street. You should probably only have a very minimal amount on your person. And don't trust strangers too freely or willingly. If you go out to sample the local nightlife, that's great. You should definitely go out and party, but really think about limiting your alcohol intake if you really must drink at all. The reason is that alcohol can impair your senses and can make you vulnerable to any creeper out there who's looking to take advantage of you. So with that said, go out to party, but maybe you can turn up with like a Coke on the rocks instead of like hard liquor. My fourth tip is to partner with other solo female travelers. Because after all, traveling solo doesn't mean that you have to be alone all of the time. I've always found it helpful to partner with other female solo travelers simply because we understand each other's concerns, triumphs, and challenges, and often we can trade tips and tricks for traveling solo. My fifth tip is to not compromise your safety to prove a point or to save a dollar. While you may feel invincible, it's really silly to put yourself in harm's way just because you don't think you'll be a statistic. Likewise, it's silly to compromise your safety just to save a couple of bucks. Your life is valuable, so make sure you invest in yourself. That may mean purchasing travel insurance even though you're sure you'll never need it, or taking that $20 cab ride back to your hotel even though you're convinced that walking back in the dark is completely fine. And finally, for my sixth tip, I would recommend that you keep friends and family informed about your whereabouts. Honestly, this seems really obvious, But you know what? You'll probably go on your trip and have such a good time that you forget to write your family and friends back home. It's super important to keep them up to speed and up to date with what you're doing. I would personally recommend sending them a copy of your itinerary, so even if you don't have the chance to contact them daily, at least they can kind of have a running schedule of what you're supposed to be doing and where you're at. Make sure that you not only include an itinerary of where you're going to be and on what dates, but that you also include the contact information for the accommodation and tours that you may have booked. Also, if you find that updating them individually is onerous or annoying, make sure that you point them in the direction of your social media channels, which you'll surely be updating so they can be privy to what a good time you're having on the road. So there you have it, my 6 safety travel hacks for women who are traveling alone. If you like this video, I would love for you to give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. And also, before I go, one question for you ladies. Have you ever traveled solo? If so, where? If you haven't, what's stopping you? I would love to know what you think about solo travel and your experiences with it. So make sure you leave me a comment down below and I will check you later. Peace.
Kung kailan lang tayo nagkatagpo, ngunit kung kailan lang tayo